But I've always been a fan of teams. So Joe and Brad together, or Keith Richards and Mick Taylor together, Angus and Malcolm. I used to flip the stereo balance all the way to the left to hear Malcolm's part because it was cleaner. I mean, if you've got one guitar player in the band, I mean, Zeppelin did okay. but I just sure have loved hearing how people work together.
Charlie Starr's journey as a guitarist began with a jolt of electricity, and that charge came courtesy of Eddie Van Halen. As the frontman of Blackberry Smoke recalled, it was Van Halen's unparalleled energy that first made him want to pick up a guitar. Speaking to Axis TV, Starr said, "When I heard Eddie Van Halen for the first time, it was like hearing a UFO land in my backyard. I had no idea what was happening, but I knew I wanted to be a part of it. Van Halen's dazzling runs, harmonics, and wild whammy bar antics weren't just about technical fireworks. For Starr, they were about spirit. He played with such joy," Starr explained. "It didn't feel academic or cold, it felt like somebody who loved what they were doing. Yet, there was a gap between admiration and imitation. While Starr loved the pyrotechnics of Van Halen's playing, replicating them proved far more difficult than he expected." Faced with the technical wall of Van Halen's style, Charlie Starr soon found an alternative path through the rolling, rugged sound of Keith Richards. The Rolling Stones guitarist offered something that Starr could relate to more immediately. As he put it in conversation with Axis TV, "Keith Richards taught me that you didn't have to be the fastest or the flashiest to say something powerful on the guitar. Richards' loose, swaggering rhythm work, often built around open tunings, resonated with Starr on a deep level. It was less about perfection and more about feel. He's the master of the wrong note being the right note," Starr said with a laugh. "There's magic in those mistakes." While Richards offered a more attainable style, there was still a problem. Starr admired the looseness, but needed to balance it with precision to avoid sounding sloppy. To solve that puzzle, Starr turned to another of his heroes, Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top. Gibbons combined the laid-back phrasing of Richards with a razor-sharp sense of groove and touch. Starr was fortunate enough to meet Gibbons early in his career, and the Texan legend offered simple but lasting advice. "He told me, 'Play it like you mean it, son,'" Starr recalled in a video interview. "That stuck with me more than anything about scales or modes."
He goes, "Y'all need to quit rehearsing so much." And we didn't. We would just sound check every day, and maybe that, I guess we were running through stuff or whatever. And he goes, "Just let it go, man. Just go for it. Sometimes you land it, sometimes you don't." And I thought, no, that's easier for you to say because you sold all these tickets. But if we go out there in front of your fans and don't land it, that's all they're going to talk about.
Listening to Gibbons' licks on records like Tres Hombres and Fandango taught Starr about restraint and tone. "Billy's got this sound that's all guts and grease," he said, "and he knows when to lay back and when to let it rip." However, learning to control that grit without losing fire proved another challenge for the young guitarist. The solution came when Starr immersed himself in the playing of Dicky Betts from the Allman Brothers Band.
It was crazy to meet Dicky because he was wilder than all of us, but just he was a giant, And I remember watching him go up, and it was not lost on me that every note that came out of his hands, I'm like, much like George Jones, I'm like, this dude has created this landscape of, he and Dwayne Allman, the guitar landscape that I exist in came from them.
Betts' style, steeped in melody and lyricism, taught him that solos could sing just as powerfully as a human voice. As Starr explained to Relix, Dicky Betts showed me how to tell a story with your guitar. His solos on songs like Blue Sky are like conversations, they're not just exercises. Starr became fascinated by the idea of weaving melodies into his solos, rather than just firing off rapid-fire licks. It made me realize you could make people feel something deeper, he said. But as he leaned more heavily into melody, Starr found himself confronting a new tension, maintaining excitement without sacrificing emotional nuance. At this crossroads, Starr found his answer in a much older style of playing, diving into the intricate world of Merl Travis.
Hold on, buddy, pull your load of coal. Tell me, how can I pull when the wheels won't roll?
Merl, he had heard our version of Yesterday's Wine with George. And so he said, I like that. Good job. I said, thanks, man. He was very soft-spoken.
Known for his pioneering thumb-picking technique, Travis opened up a new dimension for Starr's acoustic playing. Speaking during a Reddit AMA, Starr said, "Learning Merl Travis's picking style gave me a whole new set of tools. It's like you're playing bass, rhythm, and lead all at once." Practicing Travis's patterns added dexterity to Starr's fingers and grounded his guitar work in a stronger rhythmic foundation. "It changed the way I thought about the guitar completely," he said. "It wasn't just about flashy solos anymore, it was about building the whole song from the ground up." Yet this focus on technique risked pulling Starr away from the emotional directness that had drawn him to music in the first place. To find his way back to the heart of the matter, Starr looked to a figure better known for his singing than his guitar playing, George Jones.
Have you walked in a garden where nothing was grown?
George came in at like 4 o'clock, he and his wife, Nancy. And then I was blown away. I mean, I got goosebumps thinking about it. It was just like, in walks the greatest country singer that's ever lived.
Although Jones was primarily a vocalist, Starr found in his phrasing and emotional delivery a crucial lesson for guitar work. As he told Axis TV, George Jones could take a simple line and make you cry. "That's what I want to do with the guitar, not just impress people, but move them." Starr started approaching solos the way Jones approached verses, focusing on tension, release, and phrasing. He learned that sometimes one note, perfectly placed, could do more work than 20 played at lightning speed. "It's about feeling, not fireworks," Starr said simply. However, embracing this slow burn style meant risking a kind of subtlety that audiences might not always immediately appreciate. Looking for a way to bring more color and complexity into his playing without losing the emotional core, Starr turned to Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead.
I saw a room full of men, their hammers a blazing.
His guitar playing is such a huge part of the Dead. He's got a thing, that very rhythmic chugging thing that he does. It was extremely powerful in our jam. I'm like, I don't need to do anything. I mean, it's Bob Weir's, he is moving this train. Even Britt, our drummer, was like, I'm following what he's doing. He's like, it was so cool to hear that in my right ear.
Weir's rhythm guitar work, rich with counterpoints and unexpected twists, showed Starr how to expand beyond conventional structures. In an interview with Guitar World, Starr said, "Bob Weir isn't just a rhythm player, he's like an orchestra section all by himself. He fills space in ways you don't even notice until it's gone." By studying Weir's improvisational approach, Starr learned to stay rooted while still taking chances. It allowed him to introduce more interplay with his bandmates on stage, weaving in and out of the rhythm without stepping on the song's spirit. Still, there remained one final challenge: stitching all these diverse influences together into a style that felt uniquely his own. Through years of gigging, recording, and endless listening, Charlie Starr gradually blended these influences into a voice that was recognizably his. Today, whether leading Blackberry Smoke through an arena anthem or an intimate acoustic number, traces of Van Halen's fire, Richards' swagger, Gibbons' grit, Betts' melody, Travis's craftsmanship, Jones's soul, and Weir's expansiveness can all be heard in his playing. Yet, as Starr himself put it best in a candid reflection, at the end of the day, you're just trying to say something real. All the tricks and licks are just the tools. What matters is whether you mean it. It is that unshakable commitment to honesty and feeling, shaped by a lifetime of listening, learning, and living, that continues to drive Charlie Starr every time he picks up a guitar.